Have you ever heard of a samurai who wasn't Japanese? A warrior whose story is so incredible, it sounds like it's straight out of an anime? Well, today we're diving into the true tale of Yasuke, the African man who became a legendary samurai in feudal Japan. This isn't just a history lesson. It's the story of a man who defied every expectation and carved his name into the annals of one of the world's most formidable warrior cultures. How did a foreigner, an outsider, rise to become a trusted retainer of the most powerful warlord in Japan? And what was the secret weapon that made him so legendary? Stick around, because this story is epic. Our story begins in the late 16th century, a time of intense civil war in Japan known as the Sengoku period. Warlords, or daimyo, battled for control of the country, and among them, one man was on the brink of unifying it all: Oda Nobunaga. He was a brilliant, ruthless, and famously curious leader, known for his openness to new ideas and technologies, like firearms from the West. It was this curiosity that would set the stage for one of history's most unlikely encounters. Around 1579, an Italian Jesuit missionary named Alessandro Valignano arrived in Japan. But it wasn't Valignano who captured everyone's attention. It was the man by his side, a tall, powerfully built man from Africa whose name, we believe, was Yasuke. Historical records are a bit fuzzy on his exact origins. Some say Mozambique, others Ethiopia or Sudan, but what's undeniable is the impact he made. When Yasuke arrived in the capital, Kyoto, his presence caused a sensation. People had never seen a man with his dark skin and towering height before. The chronicles say crowds gathered, clamoring to get a look at him, with some people even being crushed in the excitement. The noise was so great that it reached the ears of the man himself, Oda Nobunaga. Intrigued, Nobunaga summoned Yasuke to his castle. At first, Nobunaga was skeptical. He couldn't believe that Yasuke's skin color was real and even ordered him to be scrubbed, thinking it was ink. When he realized it was natural, Nobunaga was utterly fascinated. He wasn't just impressed by Yasuke's appearance. He was captivated by his intelligence and strength. The two men reportedly spent hours talking. Yasuke, who had likely picked up some Japanese during his travels, was able to converse with the powerful warlord. Nobunaga was impressed by his intellect, his worldly knowledge, and his sheer physical presence. Here was a man who stood head and shoulders above the average Japanese man of the era, possessing the strength of 10 men, according to some accounts. This wasn't just a fleeting fascination for Nobunaga. He saw something special in Yasuke: potential, loyalty, and a warrior's spirit. In an unprecedented move, Nobunaga took Yasuke into his service. This was a massive deal. The samurai were a hereditary class, a closed society. To be accepted into their ranks as a foreigner was almost unheard of. But Nobunaga wasn't one for tradition. He gave Yasuke a Japanese name, his own residence, and a ceremonial short sword, the wakizashi. This wasn't just a gift, it was a symbol. Yasuke was no longer just a retainer. He was being elevated to the status of samurai. He was now a bushi, a warrior in the service of Japan's most powerful man. Imagine the scene: Yasuke, clad in samurai armor, training alongside Japan's elite warriors. He would have learned the ways of the sword, the spear, and the bow. He served as Nobunaga's personal bodyguard, a position of immense trust. He was present at court, at important meetings, and even in battle. He wasn't just a novelty. He was a trusted member of Nobunaga's inner circle. This brings us to his secret weapon. Was it his immense physical strength? His exotic appearance that could intimidate foes? Perhaps. But I believe Yasuke's true secret weapon was his adaptability and his unwavering loyalty. He navigated a completely alien culture, learned its language, and earned the respect of its most powerful leader through sheer force of character. He proved that the spirit of a warrior, the spirit of Bushido, isn't defined by blood or birthplace, but by honor, courage, and loyalty. Yasuke fought alongside Nobunaga in several key campaigns, including the pivotal assault on the Iga province, home of the legendary ninja clans. He was a warrior, tried and tested in the crucible of battle. His life seemed set on a path of glory, serving the man who would soon be shogun of all Japan. But fate, as it often does in these epic stories, had a cruel twist in store. In 1582, Nobunaga was at the height of his power. He was staying at Honnoji Temple in Kyoto with only a small contingent of guards, including Yasuke. He felt secure, untouchable, but he was betrayed. One of his own top generals, Akechi Mitsuhide, turned against him, surrounding the temple with a massive army. This is the infamous Honnoji incident. Nobunaga and his small band of loyal retainers were trapped. They fought valiantly, but they were hopelessly outnumbered. As the temple burned around him, Oda Nobunaga, realizing defeat was inevitable, committed seppuku, the ritual suicide of a samurai, to avoid the dishonor of capture. And where was Yasuke? Accounts say he fought fiercely to defend his lord. He battled his way through Akechi's soldiers, trying to protect Nobunaga to the very end. When all was lost, Yasuke managed to escape the inferno and tried to reach Nobunaga's heir, Oda Nobutada. He joined Nobutada, who was also under attack, and continued to fight. But again, the odds were impossible. Nobutada, like his father, was forced to commit seppuku. Yasuke, however, was eventually captured by Akechi's forces. Here, the story takes another strange turn. When Yasuke was brought before the traitorous general Akechi Mitsuhide, Akechi was faced with a dilemma: what to do with this foreign warrior. According to some records, Akechi dismissed Yasuke, stating that he was not Japanese and therefore not bound by the same codes. He called him an animal and said he didn't know anything, so he shouldn't be executed. He ordered that Yasuke be taken back to the Temple of the Southern Barbarians, which meant the Jesuit church. And after that, the historical record goes silent. Yasuke, the man who had shone so brightly, simply vanishes from the pages of history. What happened to him? Did he return to the Jesuits and eventually leave Japan? Did he remain, perhaps as a ronin, a masterless samurai, wandering the land he had once helped to conquer? We simply don't know. His explosive entry into Japanese history is matched only by the mystery of his exit. But his legacy is undeniable. Yasuke shattered the conventions of a rigid, hierarchical society. He proved that honor and skill were not limited by race or origin. He was a pioneer, a true trailblazer whose story has been largely overlooked for centuries. But in recent years, his story has seen a massive resurgence. From anime and manga to video games and planned feature films, the world is rediscovering the legend of the African samurai. And why not? It's a story of courage, of breaking barriers, and of an unbreakable bond between two of history's most fascinating figures. Yasuke wasn't just a footnote in Oda Nobunaga's story. He was a samurai in his own right, a warrior who defied an empire and left behind a legend that continues to inspire us today. His secret weapon wasn't a magical sword or a hidden technique. It was his humanity, his strength of character, and a warrior's heart that knew no borders. So the next time you think about the legendary samurai of Japan, remember the story of Yasuke, a man who traveled halfway across the world and proved that the soul of a warrior can be found in the most unexpected of places. What do you think happened to him after he disappeared from the history books? Let me know your theories down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into a hidden corner of history, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious.